Hey YouTube, so today's message I have for you is to leave the dead things go. Leave the dead situations go that no longer serve you. Leave the dead people go that God no longer want in your life, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's an ex. These people are not in your life for a reason. Do not go back to jobs that God has pulled you from. Stay focused on what you need to be focused on and what God has called you to right now. Sometimes God has positioned you to be by yourself. He may be isolating you. I am in a season of isolation, and sometimes God is isolating you so he can mold you and work on the things that you are distracted by, that you can't even see, that's within yourself. God is trying to build you into this new character, and he's trying to build you into this new person, but you are too busy trying to go back to the things that God has took out of your life. And it's a reason why it's no longer there. And you have to understand that, and you have to know that no matter where you are, the people that are supposed to be there will be there. The situations that are supposed to be there will be there. You have to let go and move forward. Stop looking in the rear view. You have to look ahead. You're too busy looking back, worried about what can you go back to? What habits can you go back to? There have been times when I wanted to go back and relapse and maybe smoke or do things, have sex. Sometimes I'm just like, Lord, please get me through this day because I'm just, in the mood. Or can I go hang with this female that I know, you took me out of my life for a reason. I mean, you took her out of my life for a reason. And, I just want to go back because I'm tired of being lonely, and I'm tired of feeling like I have nobody around me. But after I start thinking, it's a reason why they're not around me. It's a reason why God has pulled them out of my life. I no longer need them, and they no longer need me, because God has created that separation for a reason. So you have to realize, when you do go back to those things, it's going to become worse than what it was. When you go back towards those habits, it's going to be habits even harder for you to break. And when God calls you out of something, do not go back. Don't go back. When that door is closed, don't reopen doors. Don't reopen doors. When he removed you from these guys or these females that are no longer good for you, don't go back. Don't go back, because it's going to be even worse. I have been in situations where I went back to people and to things, and I realized after I went back, I realized, you know what? Now I see why God pulled me out of this. This is toxic. A lot of those situations be toxic situations. So you have to understand and allow God to pull you out of that, because that's not what he called you to. That's not the things that he have called you to. So my message is just to stop going backwards. Go forward. Because if you keep going backwards, you'll never get to your destination. You'll never get to your purpose. You'll never get to your drive. You'll never get to the life that you really want. And sometimes isolation allows you to see things within yourself that you need to work on. It allows you to get to know you. It allows you to just hear God more. When you're around a lot of people, it's a distraction, because, you're hearing their problems, or you're around them hearing stories about what they're going through. And you never really sit down and really think, where do I want to be in life? What things do I want to work on within myself? Why do I keep, and sometimes you have to look at yourself like, why do I want to keep going back to the things that God has pulled away from me? Why do I want to keep going back towards the things that are no longer good for me? And they're not good for you. These situations aren't good for you, but you still want to go back. You still want to move ahead and take your own step. You still want to do your own thing, but that is not what God has called you to. That's not what he has called you to. And and also you want to go back because you're scared of the change. You're scared of the change that is happening in your life. You don't want this change to happen. You want to keep going backwards because that's where you're comfortable. That's where you're comfortable. But God will never allow you to grow in your comfort zone. You have to go out there and take a risk and do what God has called you to do, because being comfortable will never get you anywhere. You'll be 20 years down the line in the same situation because you want to be comfortable. Sometimes God puts you in uncomfortable situations, and that's what He has called you to, because that's what's going to help you grow. Don't you want to grow? Don't you want to move forward? Or do you want to be comfortable and stay in the same zone and stay in the same mindset and stay in the same personality? No, God is calling you to be greater. God is calling you to do greater things. But you'll never do that if you never take the risk. You'll never do that if you never accept the change that God is putting in your life. Being isolated is a big change. Yes, it is a big change. It is a big change. And I was the type of person where I was always out. I was always in the streets. I was always, trying to see what the next move is. But that's not what God has called me to do. He has called me to sit down, because every time I'm looking for the next move, it gave me a negative move. It gave me a negative situation or a negative outcome that I had to deal with. So sometimes you just have to look within yourself and say, you know what? Why do I want to keep going back to these things that are no good for me? So that's my message today. Just stop going back to the things that are no longer good for you. Stop going back to the things that are not allowing you to grow, the things that are not allowing you to prosper. You keep trying to go back into this box, but God is calling you out of the box. Just like a turtle cannot get bigger if his environment isn't bigger, if his tank isn't bigger. He has to continue getting a bigger tank in order for him to continue growing. And that's what God is trying to do, put you outside of the box. You want to stay conformed inside of that box, but you will never grow. You will never grow. And when God finally pulls you out the box, you want to keep walking backwards towards it. And that's not what He's calling you to. So I'm just speaking this message for anyone out there that is trying to go back to those things that no longer serve them, trying to go back to those friendships that are no longer good for them, those toxic situations. Just leave them alone and let God handle it. Let God do the work in you, because He has some great things that He has planned for you, but you'll never get ahead to them and you'll never move forward towards them because you're so caught up in the wrong things. You're so distracted and going backwards. You know how hard it is to walk backwards? If God wanted you to walk backwards, He would have created that'll be a normal thing for us to walk backwards. But no, what's normal is walking forward. What's normal is walking ahead. And that's what God has called you to. So I love you, and I hope that this message, resonated with you, and I hope that it touched you and allowed you to just rethink some things. Just stop going back. It ain't worth it. It's so many other people out here. It's so many people that will be a good friend to you. It's so many better jobs out here, better situations, better boyfriends, better girlfriends. It's just so much better out here for you. So stop going backwards and stop following the wrong things. I love you guys. Bye.